Welcome to the build up of day two of the fourth test match. Here we are with some sad news that Rishabh Pant is not only ruled out of this test match, I was going to
The
say
series
hopefully.
as well.
Yeah, probably ruled out of the series as well. I think Roy Chowdhury called that yesterday. He is our community doctor now officially. He called it yesterday that it is a fracture and he will be ruled out. Reports say Ishan Kishan will be replacing Rishabh Pant, which is quite interesting. Of course, timely because Ishan Kishan is in England playing county cricket. He is a
Yeah,
wicketkeeper batter, and they will want a backup
true.
to Dhruv Jurel.
Yeah, reports also say Dhruv Jurel will be playing the fifth test match. He obviously will now be donning the gloves for this very game. Lot of things to get into, but if you're just joining in, definitely hit like, push the stream out to more people. We will get into what the preview for today is going to look like.
Yeah.
Going to be an important day's test cricket and a
Yes.
test match now with Rishabh Pant not being a part of the rest of the
Yeah.
match
True.
for sure, and the series as it looks like.
Yeah, which is quite sad. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for supporting us on a Thursday afternoon. All right, so let's get into things. Of course, Rishabh Pant will be a topic, and we will talk about how much he will be missed. But yeah, let's I think a lot of you guys suddenly worrying about Ishan Kishan replacing Rishabh Pant. It's only as a backup
Yeah.
keeper. Dhruv Jurel will make it into the squad from the get go, but Dhruv Jurel also needs a backup because what if Dhruv Jurel gets injured and then you will need someone to keep for him. All right, let's get into things. Let's talk about the pitch.
All right, so this has to be the most English like condition so far. We also saw that in the pitch yesterday, there was a tinge of grass covering, and so we did see a fair amount of sea movement. There was also swing because of overcast conditions. Expect more of the same. It still continues to be overcast as per what I have read on Twitter from prominent journalists. But yeah, I think the pitch is still going to play very English like. India will have to come in and apply themselves if they are to go on and make this a bigger day in terms of the runs they get. Nothing else as such, no demons as such in the pitch. There was a slight bit of turn for Liam Dawson, very little bit. It will be interesting to see if there will be a little more for Liam Dawson in the pitch today, and if India eventually come to ball, how that pans out. But yeah, it's more or less going to be seam, swing, and that's all we can watch out for. Still a good cricket wicket.
All right, so that's been about the pitch. Let's go to wits against the Brits, and that's what India needs to do today against the English players. So, a couple of things. There can't be a replacement for Rishabh Pant in the second innings because it's not a concussion injury; it's a feet injury, and for now we don't have rules for that. So, Dhruv Jurel, even though he might be able to keep for Rishabh Pant, he will not be able to bat. So, we will be a batter sure no matter what in the second innings. There's no replacement. You can only replace a fielder, which is what Dhruv Jurel will do as a wicketkeeper. In the second test match, that's what he did. But he cannot come in as a batter in the second innings. It's unfortunate, but these are the rules for now. But what can India do from now on to make sure we go to a solid position? So I will be really, really surprised if the England team don't take the new ball from the very first over. They will want to do it with Jadeja and Shardul Thakur on the crease, and that is what the batters will need to face. Yesterday with the new ball, there wasn't. I mean, there was swing and seam, but there was more swing and seam after the first couple of sessions. And so, one positive can be if they are able to get through the first few overs, and by few, I mean the first 3-4 overs, I feel like Shardul and Jadeja will be more confident facing the new ball, and we might possibly get more runs because Shardul is the kind of batter who might just slash at some. But hopefully they do stick around. At least the first hour is over. I wouldn't want Washington Sundar to be in the first hour. So that is the hope for Jadeja and Shardul Thakur to be very careful, to be very conscious about the kind of shot they're playing and not risk getting a wicket because we don't have Rishabh Pant, we don't have a batter. Not only do we not have a batter for the second innings, we don't have those runs for the second innings. So not only will we have to play time, we will have to make sure. I mean, we will have to play time. This is not only. I was going to say not only will we have to score runs, but we'll have to play time, bat as long as we possibly can, and to make sure that we stretch out this innings as much as we possibly can because not like I said, because we're a batter short, even though while especially while coming to bat second, we will be missing that batter. So to just get out of that scenario and almost play escape, because now that is what the Indian team will essentially do. You will just have to keep batting and possibly score as many runs. And with Washington Sundar coming, I expect the same thing. Sundar has been in good form. He is the kind of batter who likes to stick around. He doesn't necessarily slash them. And so it will be Jadeja and Shardul Thakur will be an important partnership, but I also have hopes, a lot of hopes, in fact, from Washington Sundar. What I would hope is that the tail bats the exact same way that they did in Lords, just letting them know that, hey, we don't have a Rishabh Pant, we don't have that batter. You guys have to stick around. So I would hope they do the almost the exact same thing or can replicate in some sense what they did in Lords, because they have shown that they can bat if they want to. And Siraj in the press conference did talk about how their focus on the batting has been a lot since the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and even in this English tour, they have been focusing a lot on the batting. So if they can continue to do the same, hopefully we get a score. I want to say close to 400, even if even then it's a stretch. But anything more than 300, 350 would be a good score considering the situation we are in right now. We are all essentially five down, not even four. So considering all of that, getting between somewhere 350 to 400 might just be good enough because of the situation we are in. I wouldn't say it's good enough for the test match, but good enough because the situation we find ourselves in. All right, let's go to Finn to win, and that's
Players to watch out for. And I think just adding on to what Ashwin is already saying, for us to get anywhere close to 350 to 400, you will have to watch out for how, firstly, this pair of Jaddu and Thakur go, but also after that, how Washington Sundar plays. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind, which we will get into in the next segment, but mainly how that first hour goes is going to dictate how the rest of the game progresses. It will be important both for Jaddu and Thakur to stick around for as long as possible. Although you do have Washington Sundar coming in, I think this pair essentially holds the key, because not only can they bat time, but once someone like a Thakur is in, you saw how he batted yesterday. He is someone who will be attacking the opposition. And Jaddu, he is just going to bide his time. He's just going to be there. He's rock solid in his defense. That's not something I'm too worried about, but players to watch out for, I think, these two, and how Washi shapes up through the rest of the day. If he's going to bat and is he going to bat long, that is something that will be important. I think it's almost a little repetitive, but you have to watch out for the fact that Rishabh Pant is not there. And so these three players now, the lower middle order becomes extremely important, because if India need to get anywhere close to a decent first innings total, it is only going to be coming from these three, because nobody else is really going to come in and score those runs. So this is something to watch out for.
all right. Let's then go to what's lit in Brit, and that's things to watch out for. Of course, the first thing you have to think about is the conditions, how the pitch will play, what the overcast conditions are like, overhead conditions are like. Yesterday there was sun every now and then, especially before lunch. There was a bit of sun, and the Indian batters were able to settle in. So hopefully, if there is a bit of sun for Jadeja and Shardul Thakur,
That would be nice.
it'll only work well. Something else to watch out for is also a stat that we'll get into, is how many overs Ben Stokes bowls and how many. Because yesterday, every time, I mean, in the series so far, every time he's come into bowl, it almost seems like he's going to get a wicket. And then Jofra Archer and then Chris Wokes and all of that.
Plus, with the second new ball coming into the picture today morning, I'm very sure they will be taking it probably a couple of overs in or right away.
Yeah.
Who takes the new ball? How the Indian batters negotiate the new ball?
True.
That is going to be important.
It'll also be interesting to see if the new ball does anything, because
True.
as much as we are optimistic, I would assume that India is going to bowl today as well.
Interesting.
And
it's fair.
yeah, and so it will be interesting to see if they get anything with the new ball. All right, so those are the couple of things to watch out for. Let's go to stats, because we have a few interesting stats.
All right, so there's actually some. Yeah, so this is the first stat on Ben Stokes. This is the most number of overs he's ever balled in a test series that he has played. He's currently balled 119 overs.
Imagine bowling in a series where he has not played.
Exactly. And you know, the interesting part is that his overs here are comparable to bowlers like Siraj, albeit Siraj has balled an innings less, but bowlers like Siraj, bowlers like a Wokes who balled around 130 odd overs. So that is, I mean, that just goes to show how much he's put his heart into this. Now the second one, and I think we're just tired of seeing the stats around India losing tosses, but India losing 14 consecutive tosses, this is the chance of it happening. 1 in 16,384. So yeah, I think India has been extremely unlucky. We need to do something about it. Now, after that, this is also Jaddu's most runs ever in a test series already. He's got 346 runs, averaging 115. India would love if he could get that kind of score today, the kind of average he has. This is also his first ever 300 plus run series. I think we've covered this, but yeah, it would be really nice if Jaddu can get 115 today.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Rishabh Pant, I'm assuming now, has ended his England series with 462 runs. This is the second most runs ever by a wicketkeeper in a series in England, and he's just 3 behind Alex Stewart. This is from Vijay, one of the members of our very own community. So thanks for that.
All right, let's go to the technical tidbit, and that's the length and the bowler's length
Yeah.
and all of that.
So very interestingly, I think a very typical English pitch. We also saw that in terms of the seam and swing movement, most bowlers were getting right. However, something that was interesting is that the post lunch session and even in the evening, there was a little more swing on offer. Now, I don't think that necessarily has to do with the conditions, and this is where this map comes in. It has more to do with the kind of lengths that the English bowlers were bowling. What we saw in the morning session was that they were a lot in the short or like goodish length. You'll see almost 37 plus 33, that much percentage, 70% odd was around that, is just about 22% deliveries full, and the rest was short. Whereas in the tea session or even in the between tea and lunch session, the second session of play, English bowlers were looking to go a lot fuller, especially because Sai Sudarshan was batting. They wanted him to drive, which also is an explanation for why there was more swing. Because of the simple fact that the ball is just in the air for a longer period of time, it is more or less natural to be able to see more swing in those conditions. So yeah, I don't think anything changes in terms of what happened to the ball or the conditions. Of course, the ball does get a little older, which helps it swing a bit more in England. But all in all, it also has to do with the lens being used itself.
All right, let's go to addressing the chat, and that is talking to you guys. We'll be here for a little bit, and then we will, of course, go. And then we'll come back at 11:30 p.m. for post day. That's just right. Shocking stat. This is what we do. All right. Only Vokes bowled a little fuller. True. Since Ishwaran was called upon to the squad, over 15 players have made a debut, but not Ishwaran.
True.
Utkarsh, we have had a whole thing going on
We've-
yesterday.
Yeah, we made a whole video.
Oh yeah, we have also Oh, that's the last Friday thing. I was going to say
Yeah.
this Friday thing. But yeah, we have made a video of why he potentially would not have played. There are valid reasons. Should he have played in India potentially before? Yeah, maybe. But there are reasons for why he hasn't played. And I think this stat, first of all, this over 15 players have made a debut is kind of ridiculous because a lot of people are not even competing for the same spot. Like Harshit Rana has made a debut, Akash Deep has made a debut. So it's kind of blown over
Out of proportion.
out of proportions. Yeah, I don't really like the stat. I don't think they'll choose Ishan Kishan over Dhruv Jurel. Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
not.
that's not happening. If that happens, then
Ah,
then it's something's up against Jurel. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Are you going to talk about Aussie top order problem mischief? We've talked about this quite a bit. We won't talk about it now. We might potentially talk about it at the end of the day's play if you want to. But why is cricket still in stone age by not allowing injury sub? To be fair, concussion sub was in itself
Yeah,
a
a
revelation.
Step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think
The thing with, I don't know. I have no reasons
it's also
for it.
how often do these scenarios occur for there to be changes. I think like with things like concussion, a lot has changed since the Phil Hughes incident. And like how often does it happen that a player is getting fractured on the foot, can't stand and come on the crease? Like it is a fairly rare occurrence.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would want the sub to be honest.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know what the problem is. I think the argument will be, what if like a right arm spinner, off spinner gets injured, but you only have a left arm spinner in the squad? Then
Yeah.
what do you do? Because why would you carry two right arm off spinners? And so
True.
is that a fair sub? But then the argument then would be that that's your problem to deal with. I think if they were to implement something, it would be something along the lines of concussion sub, where now you have to give a list
Like
of
for like.
subs for each player.
Yeah.
But again, like if you're traveling to South Africa with an off spinner and the off spinner gets injured, you have no sub for him. So then it becomes unfair because then the other team might have an extra and they can sub in, but the other team who do not have an extra off spinner cannot sub in. So
Yeah, true.
I think it's all of that.
Yeah.
This makes us think that why ICC tweaked the rules, at least for serious injuries like fracture substitute, should be allowed at least for test and ODI. Why only concussion substitute bring injury fracture sub as well? Yeah, it's something
Makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah, I think it makes sense. It's just
And now that it's happened to India, I think it will be reviewed, the
yeah.
rules. So yeah.
No, I mean it's not the first time it's happened to India.
Oh,
It's
yeah, yeah.
happened a couple of times.
Happened, yeah.
By the way, Rishabh Pant, Rishabh Pant is ruled out of the
Yes.
series, which is quite unfortunate. But yes, here we are. But I think it's an extreme injury, and ICC need to look into it, given England has an undue advantage. That's true. Roy Chowdhury, the doctor, has spoken.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have talked about it. I think it happened for Australia as well, and there was a whole conversation. Yeah, this might come into the limelight now because it's a big series and all of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure there might be arguments against it, but I'm sure there'll be arguments for it as well. Vokes isn't really the fastest bowler in the team, and he broke the foot. If it was Jofra bowling and a hit, things could have been much
Yeah,
worse.
that actually puts into perspective how fast the ball actually comes because Vokes is 130.
Yeah, true. Hope Cape Town Siraj shows up. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be the dream.
Yeah. Rishabh Pant has been advised 6 weeks rest as per notice, as per reports. That is true. 6 weeks is fine to be fair, because they have a month off, so that's 4 weeks, and then the next 2 weeks. I mean, he'll be fine before the
The
next.
next series, yeah.
Yeah. The issue is that every professional cricketer is always carrying an injury, so it will get exploited quickly. Just have proper substitutes. No reason to why it shouldn't be the case. Yeah, that is true.
Mm.
I completely agree with that. It's just that on-field injuries are treated as differently. But again,
Yeah.
the question is, so if I twist my ankle on the field, for example, what if that's an injury I've been carrying from off the field? So is that fair? And then imagine for Mitchell Stark, you're subbing in a Mitchell Johnson. Or like, how do you? Okay, so even for example, let's just say, right? So Bumrah was out last game.
Yeah.
If Akash Deep got injured,
There's
like
Bumrah.
number wise, yeah, both of them are right arm fast bowlers.
Yeah.
But then the team is like, you're just subbing in Bumrah mid Test match.
Yeah.
I think that's okay, but I think that's what the argument would be.
I mean, you'll never have like for like 100%. It's
Yeah.
just going to be the closest possible profile.
True.
Yeah.
Boys, I mean, you can replace what the replacement rule can mention specifically that you can replace player of the same kind, like
Yeah.
pacer for a pacer, keeper for a keeper. Yeah, exactly. Like how the concussion sub is going on right now, and it hit him on the little finger, which is vulnerable. Yeah. Oh god. Could Ishan Kishan be picked for the fifth test?
I hope not. He's not done anything of substance to be
The
picked.
only thing he's done is be in England.
I mean, yeah, that's what. Nothing of substance to be picked ahead of Dhruv Jurel, who's
True.
done more than enough in England alone.
The only reason cricket never took the substitute rule in the 50s like football, basketball was because then boards had to pay more players than the playing 11. Maybe
I
that
mean,
might
yeah,
just be
from
true.
the times of the past, it makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think what humans can do, humans can't do it, Lord can?
Lord
Shardul.
Thakur. For India's sake, we hope he can. He looked pretty decent with the bat yesterday. He'll want to carry that in today as
Yeah.
well. That would be nice.
Right, so even concussion rule comes under radar times, isn't it that Chahal replacement of Jaddu? Yeah, so that's the thing. After that, the concussion sub, the rules were changed.
Yeah.
You can only use a certain kind of sub for a certain kind of player, and you have to give a list before the match starts. So every time something happens, I mean, I don't know why didn't they
Mm.
think of it before, but
Yeah.
why do they wait for something to happen? Abhimanyu Ishwaran is so unlucky, possibly. Remember Harshit replacing Shivam Dubey? Yeah, another example of that. Yeah, true.
Fast bowling all rounder, it seems.
What Shardul did to deserve a spot ahead of Kuldeep and Jurel?
Just the type of player he is. Unfortunately or fortunately, it just goes with the balance of what the squad is looking for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So to expand on that, Shardul Thakur bowls pace, and you can't only have three fast bowlers in the squad. To
Mm.
have Kuldeep would mean you have three spinners in the squad, which is not warranted in England. To have Jurel would mean you have an extra batter. The three fast bowlers need a support system around them. They need someone to bowl quick with them. They can't just be three, especially in England, especially in Manchester. So unfortunately, like Praatibh said, you need someone who can bowl pace, but also possibly someone who can bat. And apart from Nitish Kumar Reddy, the only option we have now is Shardul Thakur. Are you going to make a video of the Aussie top order? Because I'm in Australia and the aftermatch video is like 3 a.m. Mischief. Oh, so that's why you're
Whoa.
talking about it. We could possibly make a video on it when India plays Australia at some point,
Yeah.
maybe, or during the Ashes. But yes, we can talk about it. Oh, so that's why you can't come pre-match. We've talked about the Aussie top order. I think after the end of second test or first test, we've
We
talked
did.
about it.
Yeah. I mean, whenever there's this kind of stuff, there will be some discussion in the post-match lives
Yeah.
because we just have more time to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, it happened a lot with Bumrah in the Sydney Test. Lion Nash's Kumble Joy incident. Yeah, that's true. Was Arshdeep looking at a debut this match had he not been injured? I think so.
Yeah, if Bumrah wasn't playing, Arshdeep would have been in.
Yeah. Shardul needs to play a mature innings with the bat, true. I'll send it to my friends to get you more views.
Thanks.
Thanks, man. So if you make a video, fair. Who should replace Rishabh Pant? Dhruv Jurel, no doubt. I don't think that should be a
Question.
yeah. But I think Dhruv Jurel's keeping in this match might just come under the radar because of the
Mm.
last match. A lot of people assume that he kept.
Giving away buys,
Yeah.
when in fact it was a joint effort with the bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With so many injuries and Rishabh Pant gone, do you think they'll let go of the 3-test plan for Bumrah and make him play the next test as well? Oh, a very interesting
That's a
question.
very good question. Yeah, like Bumrah cannot just say this is something that we'll also maybe make a video on. But
Yeah,
yeah, like at what point does Bumrah's workload outweigh his longevity when your series is on the line?
true.
Like if India are
If it's
2-2,
on the line.
yeah, if India are 2-2 at the end of this test, moving into the final test, I mean, it would make sense to have Bumrah play,
True.
right?
But that's a very good question. Sarfaraz just lost 17 kgs. Yeah, that's true. Can VVS be a better coach than Gautam Gambhir? We'll never know. I mean, I don't know. We'll never know. There might be a day where Lakshman does become India's coach, but we won't know as of now, is
Mm.
what I'll tell you. I've been closely watching Eden Apple Tom Pacer from Kerala. Played 2025 Ranji Trophy Finals, both 140 plus. Nice action. Should be fast tracked. Your thoughts on it? To be fair, I have missed out on this book,
Yeah,
especially if he's from Kerala. I should have possibly known.
interesting.
Lord needs to attack, given it comes naturally to him. If he feels like hitting, he should just go for it. Don't. Yeah, that's true. How do you think Shardul Thakur should go about playing? Because he's the kind of guy
Mm.
who will
Just
swing at it.
just swing. It's okay. Let him play his national game. I feel like if he's just out there to survive, it's not
Yeah.
going to work. Might as well get a few runs at least and then get out.
Harshit, I get your point. What a stupid rule of ICC for person who got hit a little bit on his helmet. Okay, first of all, concussion is not a little bit. Like I get the
Dude, that
yeah, I
yeah.
get
I
the
mean,
idea you're coming from, but anyway,
that
substitute.
hurts. That hurts,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah,
And another person who got fracture in the legs and any part of the body, then no subs. Yeah, that
yeah. That is
sentiment I
yeah.
understand, but it's not a concussion. Is not a little thing. People struggle with it. I don't know who it was.
Phil
Either it was
Pukovsky who had
yeah,
to
yeah.
retire
The man
because
had to
of
retire because of how many concussion injuries that
uh,
he's had, and doctors advised him to not play anymore. Just say something. Wouldn't it be better to have a specialist batsman rather than an all-rounder when batting lineup is falling like a pack of cards? I don't know what test match you've been watching, but we've been scoring a lot of runs, and it was only in the last test in the fourth innings where we almost felt like a pack of cards.
mm,
But that's also because of the pitch and just the pressure of it all. But apart
yeah.
from that, our batting lineup has been solid.
If anything, India's outperformed most of our expectations
True.
coming into the series. I don't think anyone expected Shubman Gill with 600 runs,
Yeah.
Pant with 450 odd. So we've been doing fairly well with the bat.
What about calling Shreyas Iyer? He hasn't done much. He's not even in England playing county cricket. I think that's the idea. If he had to be selected, play some cricket. He hasn't been doing that. Right. Good idea. I want to know what the good idea is. All right. Can a fit Rishabh Pant replace unfit Rishabh Pant? Yes. These strict sub rules will only worsen the injury situation in today's fast paced, multi format, crowded cricket schedule. Only allowing one sub at any given time leads to added player fatigue. I agree with that, except I don't think there'll ever be a football rule where you can keep subbing. I understand injury subs, and I think that should be a thing. And I think it is something they will look at right now, or I think should look at right now.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, and especially as you said with the fast-paced stuff, I see every possibility of it taking that route where eventually substitutes do come into the picture. We already have impact player,
True.
so in some sense we are going that way.
What are your thoughts on the all overrate discussion? So Ben Stokes said like overrate should the rate of overs
Mm.
per hour
Yeah,
should differ from country to country because in Asia if you have three spinners just rotating
happens faster,
yeah,
right?
versus in New Zealand, which is the example he chose to use. I think if the opposition is able to stick with the overrate, why can't the England team?
Yeah.
Is my only defense.
Yeah, that's a simple argument because only England has been penalized multiple times for their
Yeah,
overrate. So
That's true. Concussion means you forget what happens for a brief period. Imagine how hard the ball has to hit you. Yeah, exactly that.
exactly.
Will Rahul keep or do they allow a sub just for keeping? They will allow a sub just for keeping. They did that in the third test match. Dhruv Jurel kept for most of the match. Man only came there to keep. Because if Bumrah doesn't play next match, then they'll bring in Harshit Rana. I don't think so. He's not
No.
traveled to England. And our bowling will be Siraj, Anshul Thakur and Rana. Jesus. Yeah, we are definitely done for. Even Crawley will have 100 then. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, to be fair, if Bumrah doesn't play the next test match, we don't have a bowler.
Prasidh.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure
we
he'll
only
play.
have Prasidh.
Yeah. The fact that I didn't even think of Prasidh, the bowler.
That
should-
just puts into perspective. Let's drop a like. I don't think there are enough likes for the stream to be pushed out. Yeah, just 17 likes. Let's get this number up to 50 likes. Thank you.
Don't you think we haven't had enough of under 19 talents from the last under 19 World Cup? I mean, except Harshit, Kulkarni, Raj, Limbani. I don't even know why none of
Hmm.
a very special talent is coming. Oh, I don't even know if
Any
there are any.
special?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it takes time just because of how many people we have right now. But for those of you who didn't follow yesterday's game, the match ended in a draw. The Indian team, so the scoreline would say 0-0 after the first two test matches, the under 19 versus the
Youth
England Lions.
test. Yeah.
But the scoreline is exactly what the test match was. So yesterday, to give you context, India was chasing some amount of runs.
355.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they went for a chase, right? So, for example, Ayush Mathur scored 126 of 80 because him as the captain, I think, took the ownership to try chasing. But
Hmm.
in the end, because we lost a couple of wickets and because of bad light, the match ended in
A
a
draw.
draw.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what happened in the first test match, where England were looking to chase down the target and they were batting really, really well. And even that ended in a draw. So I think the scoreline suggests exactly how the youth test match was. Everyone, they were performing well and it was a good contest. If you guys do want to watch highlights, I watched the highlights. I don't remember where. It's either in Sony Live or in Fan Code. I don't know where,
Hmm.
but there's a full innings highlights. There's just Ayush Matre's 100 highlights. So I saw the first test match, but even the second, which got over yesterday, I'm sure will be there. Young batters who will be representing Australia in the coming days to want to throw some names to the audience because Sam Conster surely doesn't show the Aussies way of batting. Some other names will,
Yeah.
I mean,
Been reading a bunch of names, just can't recall any.
yeah, true.
Uh, Sutherland, if I'm not wrong, at the top of the order, left-hand batter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he might be in the reckoning for the Ashes because of how constant.
Damn, Ashish, bro, I've bowled in the NCA to the under 19s this year. Suryavanshi, Samit Dravid, Ayush Matre, etc. Good on you, dude.
Very nice.
Oh, NCA would mean Bangalore, which means you're in Bangalore.
Let us know.
Shubham, Akash Deep getting injured in every series. I was thinking about it. It's something that he will have to think about. He got
Yeah.
injured in the bottom. You can't just play a match and get injured
True.
because then you would then be out of the reckoning. Dawson looks so much better than Bashir with both drift and control. I 100% agree.
The experience shining through. He just knew where to put the ball, how
Yeah.
to put the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that he was getting drift and the revolution, there's so much of
Oh.
body behind the ball. And he's even his action, it's everything about him is so much better than Bashir. But also, of course, it is because what Liam Dawson is 34 years old and Bashir is 21, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And so experience just says it. Even even if you look at Ashwin's 2012 series in Australia versus the last series in Australia, both were horrible statistically. But if you look at it as action and everything, there's so much more difference. I mean, that's impressive, Ashish. It is impressive. If Shardul had shown similar semblance during the first test, it would have helped us.
Yeah, it would have, but they didn't help his confidence either. They didn't use him with the ball till very late. And then from there, just where do you take it? Like, what does he know what his role is? It just
True.
felt like he was all over the place. Hopefully, this time it's a lot better with him. Firstly, getting runs. I hope he gets some runs today.
True.
But from that, for it to translate into his bowling, that would be nice. Conditions are also in his favor. It will help him. So,
Yeah, that's true. We are coming to the end of this life. Rehan Ahmed to replace Bashir. His county run is impressive. His county run has been extremely impressive. The man bats in the top six. Yesterday, batted number three, scored 100.
hmm.
If you see the scorecard, it's so interesting. So there were 300s in that scorecard. So number three, four, five, all of them scored 100, and no one apart from them scored more than 10, if I'm not wrong. And they had what, four ducks in that game. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Also, he does play Division 2, so that's something to keep in mind. He doesn't play Div 1, but it's also like he plays for the club that he
Runs
gets.
are runs.
Yeah, he gets plays for the club that he gets for, and he's gotten a lot of wickets. So a lot of people were talking about either Rehan Ahmed or Liam Dawson. So yeah, it is something. He's been impressive, and it's not too far away until he plays for England. Is all I'll say. All right, so the live is coming to an end, and this is why we go to PP. And that is Praatibh predictions.
All right.
How long do you think,
Hmm.
or which session until do you think India is going to bat?
I think India at least bats 1.5 to 2 sessions. I know I'm being a little bit ambitious, but I do see India crossing 350. Beyond that, I cannot say anything. So I think India will reach 350, creeping, crawling, however it is, dominating, whatever it is. But yeah, beyond that, I really don't know which way it's going to go.
All right. So that's that. Those are the Praatibh predictions. Do you guys think that India should have looked to score a bit more against Dawson, given his coming back since 8 years. True,
Mhm.
but I also think he started off extremely well. Good line and lengths. You can't just simply attack. I mean,
True.
Jaiswal tried to defend and he almost got. I mean, he
And
did
he
get
got
out.
out.
So there's something. All right. So thank you guys so much for the support. This has been a pre-match. It will be an interesting day ahead. The first two was how much the ball does. How long can Shardul and Jadeja can? How long can they stitch on a partnership? How will Washington Sundar be as a batter? And then when will India come on to bowl? If they do, which they probably will. We will be back at 11:30 p.m. talking post-match, talking about how the day went out, the positives, negatives, technical tidbits, a lot of stats for you guys. Thank you guys for already supporting us. Already. Thank you guys for always supporting us. We always appreciate that a lot. Yeah. See you guys at 11:30 p.m.
Peace.